Are we back with our girl now? We can never give ourselves to a Nasla man! Yeah, that's right! The day we made these vows feels like many years ago. Just look at her. Her cheeks are flushed and she's so careless. Unbelievable. It's been 3 days since we were brought to Nasla. And one woman's already like, oh, hello. Shalu is complaining while looking down out the window. Oh, Naala, you're so beautiful. I know this wasn't meant for me, but still hearing it from the outside caused my shoulders to shudder. The man's gaze was fixed on a girl that he was hitting on. Is she also a Naala, or is she just like, I'll go with it? You're too kind. I'm just an ordinary girl. No, you're special, Naala. It's that, Naala. Yeah. There's really 2 of you? There's 3 of you? Man, popular name. There's 3 women named Naala in this building, including me. There's no men who'd call out to me anyway. There's a big reason why men don't call out to me, and it's not because of humility. I can't decide if it's more frustrating or enraging that I have to be thankful to that savage for this. It seems I've been positioned as the woman that the military commander is after. Ah, so all the other guys are like, oh, he's got dibs, I'm off. Due to that, other men won't talk to me, fearful of their commander's rage. While I'm glad it keeps the suitors away, thinking of the reason why, it makes my blood boil. Hey Naala, don't you think so too? It can't be helped. Roos men don't shower women with praise like that. Well, what's wrong with them? I guess they take their women for granted, like, oh, we got women here. The girl you're looking at down there isn't the only one who'd become restless hearing such flowery praise that she's not accustomed to. It happened so suddenly, a storm of gifts and sweet words of affection. In this battle to get married, some women are starting to get swept away by it. It can't be helped. 3 days is pretty fast, though. Like, how terribly were these women treated back home? Oh! Hello! And hello to you, too. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if the it can't be helped is for Toya. I gotta mind my P's and Q's with these choices. Just because the guy's nowhere around doesn't mean it doesn't affect things. But this is happening faster than I expected. Perhaps they couldn't stand the uncertain darkness of living in fear. Shalu complains that these women are changing their colors too quickly, but life is something that everyone is free to decide for themselves. Why blame her for flirting with a Nasla man? I do agree that 3 days is a little too fast for a woman to fall for a Nasla man. But really, our numbers thinning is only a matter of time. Naala, are you gonna sit there and just let this happen? I've got mixed feelings about it, but I can't stop her if that's what she wants to do. Like, literally. Like, what, I'm just supposed to say, you can't, you gotta stand strong, girl. Like, she's gotta make a decision about her own life here, whether she's gonna hold out or she's like, you know what, I'm down. So, I'm with Naala, our girl Naala on this one. I'm completely against it. I'll never become someone's object. Yeah. I agreed with her, but internally I looked off into the distance, dispirited. High stone walls surround this area called the First District. Though it signals despair, the walls looked white, having been bleached by the sun. I heard that there were wild beasts on the outside, and there are soldiers everywhere in the city. Even if we all worked together, we wouldn't all be able to escape unharmed. I thought, when they said we'd be allowed to move about freely, that we'd be able to do something. How's Salana doing? She's still saying she wants to be left alone. I see. Well, I'm worried about her, so I'm gonna go check up on her later. Of course, not all women are swayed by sweet words. Most of the women are upset and depressed over the forced change of environment. I visit these women and give them someone to talk to. The sensitive Salana is one such woman. She stopped talking from the second day and has been in low spirits. With a friend in trouble, all I can do is be someone she can talk to. It's pathetic. I feel like I might get sick over it. If my mother is still alive, she might feel the same way. I idly look beyond the walls of the First District. If she's still alive, I might be able to see her someday. Though it's hard to say that would be a happy reunion. It's a complicated feeling. I feel like I want to see her, and yet I don't. Of course, if it wasn't this situation, I'd raise my hands and rejoice at the reunion. But now, I'm a prisoner. I've wasted my mother's desperate efforts, her sacrifice to protect me. I feel like I wouldn't be able to enjoy a reunion due to the remorse. Okay, I'm gonna go check in on Salana. Yeah, please. If I continue to sit here doing nothing, I feel like I'd be paralyzed by depression. I stretch out my back and try to sweep away that gloomy feeling. Salana, I'm coming in. Women are assigned 3 persons to one room. Fortunately, we were assigned to this room together. Nice. The trio, kept together. I thought that the 3 of us together would be reassuring, but Salana's spirits dropped drastically the next day. And finally, she said that she wanted to be left alone.
I'm sorry, Naala.
Salana woke up from the bed and turned her exhausted face towards me. Anyone would be down in this situation.
No, that's not it.
Hmm?
I'm too slow. And if I hadn't been there, you and Shalu could have escaped.
What? This is the first time I'd heard these feelings from Salana since we got here. I, and probably Shalu as well, thought it only natural to help a friend out. So we never realized that this would be why she's depressed. Salana has always had a strong sense of responsibility. I should have noticed this earlier. I failed as a best friend. As I was choked up, large tears well up in the corner of Salana's eyes, who seems to have misunderstood.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, to think you're feeling guilty about that makes me terribly sad.
What?
I said so when we came here, right? I'm kind of glad we got caught together. If not, I'd probably be dead from worry by now.
Naala!
Shalu feels the same way. She's really worried about you. So, cheer up, Salana.
Thank you. I'm happy to have you as a friend.
Salana? I was momentarily relieved to see her smiling face after a long time, but then Salana hunched over, covering her mouth.
I'm sorry. I've been feeling nauseated since this morning.
Nausea? I hurriedly put my hand on Salana's forehead. It felt an odd fever as soon as I touched her. This is a really bad fever. Why didn't you say anything?
I'm sorry. I didn't want to make you worry anymore.
Though already in a haze, she apologizes with her face. Oh, Salana? I'm already pretty upset with you. Wait, I'm going to call a doctor. I'm hoping we don't lose Salana to the rot right away. That'd be unfortunate. I'm sure she was mentally exhausted, so she must have been tired physically as well. I called for a doctor who was in another room through the soldier on watch. Then, so I wouldn't be in the way, I prepared some clean water. I was so worried I had a hard time suppressing the urge to look in while the doctor examined her.
This is...
Is it a really bad cold? As the elderly doctor seemed to be in a panic, this caused my chest to swell up in anxiety. I tried to rush into the room, but for some reason he stopped me with all his might.
No, miss! You must leave this room at once!
Why?
It's highly likely that this girl has the rot.
Considering our girl had the rot, I'm surprised she didn't immediately go like, I wonder if she has the rot. Him having said this with such a serious face, for a moment panic took over and my thoughts skid to a halt.
High fever, vomiting, and this rash. These are clear symptoms of the rot.
Upon hearing this, I regained my senses. No, but the rot symptoms are... No, that's not the symptoms of the rot. The rash for the rot is...
God, please take this lady outside.
Perhaps thinking I was confused, the doctor called for the guard without listening to me. Okay, so that's why she didn't... She's like, wait a minute, these are not the right symptoms. The guard grabbed me by the arm and began to drag me outside. No! Let go! Let go of me! At this rate, Salana will... I heard that in Nasla, once a woman gets the rot, she's euthanized and her body is quickly burned. Oh boy. At this rate, Salana is going to be killed over a disease she doesn't have. My impatience reaching its limits, I acted before I could think.
What?
I quickly took the sword from the guard's waist and set it upon my own throat. As the man let go of me in surprise, I took that chance to run over to the bed and glared as I spoke to them, as they were astonished. This girl doesn't have the rot. If you don't listen to what I have to say, then I'll die together with her.
Miss, please calm down.
Stay back! I'm serious. Of course, I'm not trying to throw my life away here. So I was half bluffing, half serious. Yeah, she knows that everybody here knows she's been, like, claimed by the commander. So she's like, you want to risk that guy being upset that I took my life because you didn't listen to me? Our girl's smart. I like her. If I'm on the verge of losing something precious to something so unreasonable, then I'll use anything as a shield to stop it. Just as I thought so, a voice calmer than anyone's cut through the tension in the air.
Calm down, everyone.
Huh? Why is the king here?
His Majesty! You must stay back. There is someone with the rot. Out of the way. I'll take a look. I can't allow that. Even if the infection rates for men are low.
Oh, so it does affect men too. Just, it's higher in women. Interesting. Why is this?
I said, out of the way. If you make me repeat myself again, you'll experience a death worse than the rot.
The tone of his voice dropped, causing my shoulders to shake in fear. He was just standing there, menacingly. But I felt like he was pointing his sword at me. The guard took a step back under the king's sharp glare.
First, you give me that sword. Then I'll do something about the rest.
No way. Why should I believe the words of a kidnapper?
Your friend's condition is worsening while we engage in this ridiculous exchange. Are you fine with that? You don't have to trust me. Just choose the best option. Even if you're willing to trade your life for your friend, if you die, there's no way for you to know what happens to your friend after that. And if you die, your friend won't get the proper treatment, and her condition may worsen. Therefore, don't you think it would be wise to accept my invitation that I will do something about it?
You're not looking to just save me so you can kill Salana, are you?
If I thought this was the rot. My apologies, but we wouldn't even be having this negotiation.
No negotiation, which means that he disposed of us without saying a word about it. Unfortunately, all I can do is trust what he's saying. Abrupt music change! Fine, but promise you'll help Salana.
I vow upon all the spirits that look down on Nasla.
Prompted by his strong gaze, I point the handle of the sword towards Toya. Toya takes it, and with a look of relief on his face, he quickly looks towards the bed.
When did she develop a fever?
I believe it was around this morning.
I see.
A short reply. I wasn't quite finished talking yet when he'd already moved on. Not that I want him to pay attention to me, but just passing through like that means you can miss the beat. Hey you! I found myself talking to his large back. Suddenly he turned towards me, and I felt his brown eyes looking down on me.
And your name is?
Naala, but what about it? Toya raised his face, already ignoring me in my guarded stance. He dished out matter-of-fact orders to the guards lined up at the entrance.
Naala stays here. Everyone else fall back. No one is to come in until I order them to do so. Yes.
As everyone left reluctantly, Toya knelt down beside the bed. Hey. The king not just entered the room of a sick person, but knelt down by their bed. With this totally unexpected scene playing out in front of me, I trembled pathetically. While imbued with hostility and alertness, I carefully asked Toya, "What are you doing?"
I'm going to touch your friend a little bit. Please forgive me.
What? As he spoke, Toya pulled up Salana's clothes before permission was given. Is this like the whole blessed by the spirits thing you got going on or something? Frantically, I went to stop him, but he held me back with a serious look.
Hey, does it hurt here?
He asked Salana while pushing down on her stomach slightly above her pelvis. Despite her fever, Salana answered Toya's question by shaking her head. Salana's just like, do whatever, I'm too sick to worry about propriety at a time like this.
Right. This is not the rot.
You know, you might want to fire that doctor. If he's like, oh gosh, it's the rot. How do you know that?
The rash from the rot is reddish. She's got something different. And if this was the rot, she'd feel pain in the area I pushed down on before.
He pointed to the rash on Salana's neck and her abdomen. I was impressed by his calm demeanor, momentarily forgetting that he was the enemy. What am I thinking? He's the enemy.
She's probably exhausted, mentally. If she rests her body and gets nourishment, she'll recover in time.
You're quite knowledgeable.
If the person in charge doesn't know anything about the disease threatening his country, how is he supposed to protect the people?
Well, I mean, good on you then. Carry on. It seems that doctor didn't know, though.
This is what I've learned through my own personal research. It's not surprising that he wouldn't know.
The king doing his own research. I'm understanding less and less about this king called Toya. He kidnaps women, but then bows his head to women, and is researching illness on his own. Well, he's definitely a weird one. A weirdo. And does he not fear anything? Aren't you afraid of the spirits? At first, since many famous fortune tellers described the rot as not a disease, but a curse from the spirits, there's still quite a few people who still believe that. That's why there hasn't been much research done on it, even up to now.
If this really were a curse from the spirits, I'd have died a long time ago.
What? Was he being ironic? While I was pondering the meaning, Toya seemed to praise me.
You are also quite knowledgeable.
It was a hunch. Salana's been stressed out mentally these days. I don't know how I'd be treated if I said that I'd survived the rot. Yeah, that little tidbit might be interesting. I thought it was going to happen right then, but our girl's like, I'm going to just hold that card close to my chest for now. I turned my face away to make the denial more believable.
My apologies.
What? He apologized? Yeah, I feel like this is probably for Toya, so I'm gonna go top one. Ah! SUREN liked that. And so did Null. Anything that doesn't favor Toya, they're like, yeah! Those two. You're still the one who brought us here. The moment I hear his apology, sparks fly in the back of my head. If you have to apologize for it, why'd you bring us here in the first place? I go to curse at him, but my mouth froze as soon as I raised my face. That again. If it was an insincere apology, I could have cursed him out easily. But his face really did seem sincere in his apology, making me feel a strange sympathy for him. I know that's not quite right, but Toya's eyes looked like they were crying, and I couldn't bring myself to verbally abuse him. Aw, but he looked at me with those sad puppy dog eyes.
Anyway, let's get a different doctor in here. If you like, you can stay here and help him.
This new doctor will be one who properly understands the rot, right?
Rest assured, this is the #1 doctor in the country. We've been researching together.
I wonder if it's Ruie. Why didn't you send that guy from the beginning? I complained internally, but that seemed to show on my face, so Toya gave a strained smile and said,
If I gave him equal opportunities, I'd never stop hearing complaints from the men.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
You'll see when he gets here. Well then. Oh, and don't threaten to take your own life again.
By the way. He ordered that in such a light tone and left the room. I watched him leave, half stunned. Maybe I could have been more grateful, but all he really did was show up. He has a knack for showing up when we need help, though, I gotta say. If it had been that Knoll political assistant guy, he would have used the situation to his advantage. But a king would have to be smart enough to use such dirty tactics. Did you just call him dumb? Like, if Knoll was here, that guy would be all like, I'm gonna use this, but this guy's too stupid to do that. Oh my goodness. Being close to Auri, I realize that the government can't always do things on the up and up. Even if that king's actions aren't for show, he can't afford to give his opponent a chance to take advantage of it. But as a person, his actions aren't wrong. What am I doing worrying about that guy? Okay, no more of that. Really, what a weird king. My solitary muttering helped to disperse these indescribable feelings. Several minutes later, a person appeared together with the sound of noisy footsteps. As soon as I saw him, I let it slip out of my mouth. Oh, I do get it now.
What?
One of the qualifications to enter the first district might be being beautiful. Yeah. Like, oh, this is why he hasn't sent you in here yet, because all the ladies would be like, hello, doctor. Oh my goodness, this girl. This young doctor's face was so well put together that it made me think that seriously. I felt a sense of affinity for him, perhaps because of his familiar brown hair. Brown hair is rare in Nasla. Well, aren't you two just a pair of rarities? Ruie's people have brown hair, and is a feature that rarely appears even when mixing various races. When the doctor breathed heavily, it swayed and stuck to his face. Looking closely, his whole body was covered in sweat. He must have been in a hurry to get here. If this doctor lived here, the women would never leave him alone. As he looks more like a Ruie person, they'd be less guarded around him compared to other men. Ah, okay, it's not only that he's beautiful, but because he looks like someone from home, guard goes down a bit. Kinda makes sense. So basically, he wasn't allowed to get a head start.
Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. I'm a doctor, Ruie.
The young man named Ruie bowed politely. He doesn't look like a Nasla man. Oh, this is my favorite. I love this in visual novels where it's like just a slight difference. It's either, nice to meet you, or nice to meet you. Well, I'm not trying to get together with you, so I'm gonna do the, you don't look like a Nasla man. He doesn't look like a Nasla man. With no malice in his words or manner, or in his voice or manners, for a moment I forgot that he's a man from the enemy country. Oh, right. I confused Nasla with Ruie. Whoops. My bad, guys. I thought she was being like, wait a minute, now that I looked closer, he's not. I just can't read and remember lore. I'll get there eventually, but I think it worked out in the end, because no ups were had, so I'll take it.
Is she the patient?
Yes. Can you heal her? Ruie turned his back to me and began his examination. Already deep in concentration, he answered without turning back to me.
Right. As His Majesty said, I believe her fever is from mental fatigue. At any rate, let's give her medicine that will lower her fever.
He stood up after saying that and called out to me with the ease of going shopping. Yeah?
Your name was Naala, wasn't it? I'm going to go get some water. Would you mind looking after her?
You don't have to ask. Salana is my best friend.
That's good. Then I leave her to you.
This is too normal. That makes things troublesome. Unlike other guys, I'm not getting a greedy vibe from him. If all Nasla men were savages like that SUREN guy, I could curse them all out. Just thinking about it caused my body to shiver in fear. If this country were that bad, taking my life would be the better option. I touched the sleeping Salana's face and let out a sigh. Hurry up and get better, okay? If you don't, I might end up getting poisoned. There's so many beautiful men in this country and not all of them are the worst like SUREN.
What's wrong?
Ruie had returned, holding buckets of water in both hands. He tilted his head, looking at my difficult expression. I was just wondering if there was something I could do to help.
Thank you. In that case, would you peel this fruit?
This?
It'll be used in the medicine.
He hands me a fruit that is enjoyed as a luxury item. It had a hard skin, difficult to peel off by hand. As I was thinking about what to do, I felt something placed into my open hand.
Oh, you'll need this.
Huh? My mind went blank for a moment. I never dreamed that I'd be given a dagger so easily. And not just that, the person who gave it to me seemed to trust me with it as he turned his back to me. Toya had ordered the guards outside, so it was just me and Ruie in the room. Despite that, he had no sense of weariness and submerged himself in making medicine. I'm grateful that he's working so hard to help my friend. But what am I supposed to do in this situation? Are you sure it's okay to give me this?
Yeah, I'm not worried.
You're strange. Even though I said so, in my amazement I began to peel the fruit anyway, so I guess I'm just as strange. I peeled the fruit at a distance from him where I could kill him at any time. This is great. I love it. You don't think that I'd stab you? I asked him in amazement as I quickly handed over the first peeled fruit.
Using that, I imagine the best you could manage would be to take me hostage and save yourself. Or you could kill me as a distraction. But I don't think you could do either of those things.
How do you figure? He handed over the next fruit and puffed out his cheeks. He smiled wryly and paused for a moment. We're both pretty absorbed in our work, so taking a breath would be natural.
I heard from His Majesty. You are a very courageous woman who is considerate of her friends. Also, I'm second to none in my ability to see people for who they are.
Well, as the top doctor in the country, I suppose you'd need to have good eyesight.
Eyesight?
What?
No, I just thought that you say funny things.
Are you making fun of me?
I'm not. For me, it's not so much about eyesight, but closer to instinct. I've got a strange intuition for people who might cause trouble.
Just like a herbivore.
Oh?
Like sheep and rabbits, how they can sense the presence of beasts who want to eat them. Now that I mentioned it, you do give off herbivore vibes. I lifted my head, feeling his gaze. He looked at me as if I'd said something surprising or mysterious, and I was also made to blink. What?
No.
As he said so, Ruie's shoulders quivered slightly. It seems he was holding a laugh in. Did this girl really call me like a rabbit? Did I say something funny? I thought as I returned focus on my task at hand. A few minutes later, Ruie spoke as if recalling something.
Don't you also often hear that you're strange?
Why? I respond while mechanically peeling the fruit with a crunching sound.
I'm still a Nasla person at any rate.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be here otherwise. This task has become enjoyable. Looking at the peeled skin piling up below makes me feel refreshed. That sentence out of context could be so bad.
No, I just felt you'd let your guard down around me.
Ah, well, now that you mention it, I have. I noticed suddenly upon him pointing it out. Working together, I'd become completely relaxed. Well, it's because you're not guarded at all. I just got influenced by you. I answered with regret in my voice, but in contrast, Ruie laughed happily. But having lost his interest, he turned away. Looking at your hair color makes me a little delusional.
My hair? Oh. I got this from my mother.
Is your mother...
Yes, she was from Ruie.
Was? With a wry smile at my question, he muttered,
Not long after I was born.
His face, viewed from the side, looked so sad as he looked down after speaking. I see.
Oh, that's more than enough.
He changed pace quickly, moving on from that gloomy conversation. After taking the last one from me, Ruie ground the fruits up using a wooden stick. And while I got lost in watching this familiar work, the medicine was finished in no time.
I'm sorry, Miss Salana, but could you please sit up for a moment?
Salana, who had been sleeping, sat up. Ruie poured the medicine through her slightly open lips and confirmed that she swallowed it. After a few minutes, a look of relief spread across Ruie's face. Upon seeing that, I also felt a weight lifted from my chest.
For today, please give her this medicine in several-hour intervals. Tomorrow, please give her this powdered medicine mixed with water.
He put a small bag with subdivisions and the medicine he just made in both of my hands. The liquid medicine in the wooden bowl smelled sweet, like fruit wine.
Only patients are allowed to drink that, you know.
I wasn't gonna drink it. I'm not hungry enough to sneak away my friend's medicine. But I was scolded just as I thought it looked delicious, and my face got hot.
Next time I'll make enough for you too, Naala.
I told you, I don't want to drink it.
However, it seems like you are pushing yourself. You need nutrition.
Huh? I listened with a tilted head as Ruie stood up with a bitter smile. He slightly bowed and passed by me.
Please tell her that she needs to get plenty of sleep.
Ah, right. Without proper sleep, things that can be cured won't be. Agreeing with myself, I changed the wet towel that had been placed upon Salana's forehead. Seeing my reflection in the water in the tub, my face looked tired.